Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining our webinar, Social Media with Sizzle. My name is Liz Burke and I am joined by Andy Randazzo. He and I are offering free webinars within our Back to Workshop series to help the business community and our individual networks during this challenging time. So we'll take a moment to introduce ourselves. Andy?
Hi, my name is Andy Randazzo. My company is HitState. We are a marketing agency. We are also digital marketing specialists and brand marketing strategists.
And I have a dual background in broadcast journalism and public relations. I'm also an adjunct professor at Hofstra University in their Department of Communications. And I own my own company, Liz Burke Media, where I provide a suite of communications services, which I will talk about later in the webinar. So before we dive into social media with Sizzle, we want to talk about our upcoming free workshops. So after today's webinar, the next one will be on July 22nd, Rock Your Email Marketing, and we will discuss how to make your email work for you and or your company. And on August 6th, a website workout where we will talk about different ways to shape up your website, whether it be a personal website or a company website. And then on August 27th, Power Your PR, best practices and techniques to secure positive publicity for you or your company or a specific brand. So we hope you'll join us for one or all of those. So for today's webinar, Social Media with Sizzle, we will talk about goals and your audience groups. So in order to effectively maintain a social media program, you need to identify your goals and audience types, and we'll go over all of that. Creating content that stands out, what type of content will pop in this age of information and content overload, how to engage your audience effectively, and there is a lot that needs to be done when maintaining a social media program. So we'll talk about the effective ways to make your process turnkey. And then overall top tips to add sizzle to your social. Now we ask during the webinar that you ask your questions just by typing in questions in the Q&A box below. And then at the end of the webinar, we will answer those questions verbally.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into
Okay, social media with Sizzle. Number one, you need to identify your goals. You need to identify these objectives before you enhance your current social media program or start a new social media program if you're not running any social media networks right now. So think about your business objectives. So on the left-hand side of this graph, you see business objective. Every business has a set of objectives. So in this case, this business wants to increase brand awareness, increase brick and mortar sales, which means in-store sales, also increase online sales, boost brand loyalty, and increase revenue from new products launched. Now, every business objective needs to translate into a social media KPI. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. So in the first business objective, increase brand awareness, what you want to look at is your organic reach on social, and you want that to increase. What is organic reach? Reach is the total number of people who see your social media content. So if you're seeing an increase in your organic reach in your social media analytics, that means there is an increase in the awareness of your specific brand. Then if we look at the next one, increase brick and mortar sales. If there is an increase in social media check-ins, when people are checking in at a certain store, that means you will see an increase in your retail sales, in your in-store sales. So every business objective should have a social media KPI connected to it. Now, if you have a business objective that's not listed here, you can simply Google and put in social media KPI, and a lot of information is online connecting business objectives to social media KPIs. Once you know your KPIs, then you know what you need to look at when you're reviewing your social media analytics.
Yeah, now this, I mean, this screen, you know, I know a lot of business owners and people that just want to get right to the posting, like just get right in there and start doing it. But I have to say, if you don't have your goals set And if you don't have your strategy ready, yeah, a lot of what you're going to be doing is just throwing stuff at the wall. So you want to make sure that you know what you're trying to do and what your goals are. This is such a great place to start. And a lot of people just start posting stuff and throwing stuff at that wall. So it's better to start with your goals, your KPI, and understanding what you need to do before you get started. So this is really important to get started with this.
Great point, Andy. You need to start with these initial steps before you dive into posting. The other piece of this is knowing your audience. Now, we use this chart that really allows you to plot out what your audience groups look like. Now, what you really want to do is create 3 different personas. Personas are fictional representations of your ideal customers, people you are trying to sell to, profiles of your perfect customer. So you want to identify persona 1, 2, and 3. And how you do that is thinking about their characteristics, their needs, pain points, and the social media websites that they frequent. And that will help you in terms of the content that you put together. Now, we put together an example. This gym does not exist, but let's say it's a fitness center called Giant Gym, and we have persona number 1, 2, and 3. So looking at persona number 1, this target audience group is anywhere between 20 and 40 years old. The breakdown is most likely 50-50 male-female from what we see, and they are based on Long Island. Their needs, this specific persona is looking for convenience, trendy workouts, the latest equipment. And their pain points in this younger demographic, they may not be making a lot of money. They have very busy schedules. They don't have a lot of time. And the social media sites that they frequent, most likely Instagram TV, YouTube, and TikTok. Persona number 2, on the older side, 40 to 60, mostly female, Long Island based. They're looking for exercise without injury, lower impact. They need instruction on the equipment that they would use at the gym. And they are aging because of their age group, obviously, and they may need motivation, they're susceptible to injury. All these factors need to be taken into account, and you can look at these pain points and create content that really address that pain point and even address the needs. Persona number 2, probably on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then persona number 3, we're a little bit older in this demographic, 60 to 80, male and female living on Long Island. Somewhat similar to persona number 2, exercise without injury, low impact, equipment instruction. They need motivation, they're susceptible to injury. Most likely in the 60 to 80 demographic, they don't use social media that much, maybe on a limited basis, and they are more familiar with traditional marketing. So this really provides a roadmap of the types of customers that you want to reach online.
Yeah. So just as an example, in our business, we have like a number of different personas, right? So we're a marketing agency. So sometimes we're talking to business owners, but sometimes we're talking to other business associates that we would work with, like people that can refer us business a lot of times. And a lot of times that is not marketing professionals, but they are accounting professionals, as well as business consultants. Those are people that are always talking to business owners about how to grow your business. And how do you grow your business? A lot of times it does turn out to be marketing. So those personas are different, talking to a business owner as opposed to talking to an accountant professional or a business consultant that does refer us business. So we have those personas ourselves, just as an example.
Thank you, Andy. So we went over the goals, the business objectives, the social media KPIs, and taking a look at the audience types, the personas. Now you really want to create content that stands out. And how do you do that? We are in this age of information overload, so much content out there. Everyone's running through their social feeds every single day. We believe that you need to keep this ratio of 80%, 20%, 80% helpful, valuable, useful content to your personas, and then 20% for promotional content. You don't want to promote yourself or your company each and every day. People will get sick of that and then unfollow you. So have this type of ratio close to it in terms of breaking down 80% helpful content, 20% promotional.
Yeah, this is great. And making sure it stands out is incredibly important. In advertising, that's one of the first things that we really look at is how do you stand out? And we'll go through some of that, like how do you get something to stand out? Imagery, video, get it to stand out first, then messaging afterwards. But yes, absolutely more useful, helpful content for your viewers.
So we came up with the 3 E's to social media content: entertainment, education, emotion. Very often you want to make your posts come across as funny, entertaining content. You obviously want to educate your followers, your fans, and provide helpful information, and then find ways to evoke an emotion, whether it be laughing, smiling, crying. When someone feels an emotion when they are reading, looking at a social media post, they may engage with that post, and it makes that post more memorable for them. And Andy does this great weekly Friday fail that you can speak to, Andy.
Yeah, these are pretty funny. And you know what? A lot of times it gets probably the most engagement out of, what we post on social media. So we call it our Friday funnies and fails in marketing, in advertising, and sometimes even in design. And you can see it's just, listen, it's Friday, people are almost out the door waiting for the, weekend. So, a lot of times we're engaging people in a funny kind of lighthearted way. And we're showing all the funny things or examples of things that failed, using Starbucks and their truck wrap and how that failed, and some of these other signs and just some funny stuff. So a lot of times this gets just really great engagement, and I have to say, for us, it's so much fun to find this stuff.
Great. Now, when you think about the content that you post, and we often think about the photos and the video, which are critical, we know that, but there are so many other types of content types, content assets that you can post, whether it be a visual like an infographic. You're looking at an infographic right now. You could be sharing a slide presentation, a short slide presentation on social media, or sharing news within your industry, or sharing an educational article, a white paper, an ebook, a short quiz. You can really use your creativity when coming up with the content assets. So think about all the different types of video, visual, text, PDF, interactive, and it really helps to share that type of variety.
Yeah, and it's funny, a lot of platforms are changing, what they're doing and how they're doing it because of how people consume content, right? So example, quizzes had done so well on Facebook that they're doing them now on LinkedIn, right? So if you notice, I think it was a couple of months ago, they started putting out quizzes. So you can set up a quiz or a poll rather, for people to take, because people do love taking polls, a quick poll to get a consensus of, where your market is or who you're marketing to. So using any and all of these is great. We always find that video does best, visuals next, and then probably interactive stuff does just as good.
Right, and those polls can be fun. It could be, will you be visiting the beach this weekend?
Yep,
Yes or no? It could be a fun poll like that.
exactly.
So continuing with creating this content that stands out, looking at these visuals, these are the types of visuals that should stand out, that could grab your attention when you're looking at your social media feed. On the left-hand side, the far left, you see a group of people, they're taking a fun selfie, they're smiling at a game. It looks like a lot of fun. The center image, those eyes just pop right out at you. And if you can align your social media messaging with this type of image, that's perfect. And then on the far right, 2 people holding hands, a very heartwarming photo with the sun shining brightly down on them. Each of these images are great, and they should stand out in your social media feed. And these are the types of images that you should think about and try to capture when you're creating your own content.
Exactly. Now, who's not going to stop at the owl? Every time I see this owl's face, I just laugh. So, and it's not just the image, but something around the image, like Liz was saying, maybe that could be, the headline could be, who's looking at your social media content, right? So just something like that to get people to stop, evoke some sort of, instance where they engage with your post.
Exactly.
And here are some other amazing visuals that you could use. Who doesn't want to walk down that dock and see the sunset? So just something that's graphic, something that's appealing, something that get people to stop. Because if you look at people scrolling through their feeds, I mean, you've got like a half a second, maybe even less than a half a second if they're flipping through their feeds as fast as they do. Video usually gets a good stop just to see what's going on. Maybe they turn on the audio. So having good visuals is incredibly important.
Right. And another thing I want to mention about the images that we just looked at, people are not in those visuals. It's just the sun setting, a nice symmetrical look at the bridge. So you don't necessarily have to have people in them. There are ways to capture great pictures just with the scenery alone.
Absolutely. And speaking of visuals, how do you get great visuals? Um, so Amy Cannon created a class that teaches you how to get great photography from just your iPhone. So your iPhone is just such a powerful, when I say iPhone, I guess I'm talking about Samsung, I'm talking about your smartphone. So your phone in your hands can take amazing, amazing photographs. Google Pixel, I see, takes better photographs than any other smartphone I've ever seen. And she has a class that will teach you how to take better photos with your smartphone. She even gave us a promo code. So if you go to this website right here, amycannon.com, find Polish Your Pixels, and you put in the code HITSTATE, and she'll even give you a 25% discount on that class that she takes. And it'll walk you through all the different filters, all the different apps that she uses to get incredible photography on your smartphone, which is pretty incredible. So it's you don't have to sit there and open up Photoshop and edit things and spend too much time on. These are things that can take a couple of seconds and can create incredible impact with your images. I mean, just looking at the one that's the skin studio on the right. I mean, look at the image that was taken and then look at the image that was the end result. I mean, it's just amazing what you could do with the phone that you have in your pocket.
And in terms of putting this content together, we recommend doing something called content batching. That's creating multiple pieces of content at one time. It provides a variety of images for you. It allows you to keep perfecting your photos. It gives you more options. The bottom line is when you content batch, it gives you a tremendous amount of content at one time. So, for example, I took all of these photos at one location at the beach near me. So I took probably 10 different types of photos of the beach. And look at the variety that I have here. And I can save these photos. We understand that some photos need to be posted in real time, but I can save these types of photos. And the picture on the far left, I could post, let's say on a Monday, and then next week, I can post one about surfing and use the image in the upper right. So think about the location that you're at and don't just take one photo. Take several different photos. They're in your photo library and you have all that great content that you can use throughout the month.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to just be limited to photography.
Right.
So when we do video for clients, and let's just say we do a 1 minute about video for that client, we take that video and we chop it up into like a million pieces, 5 second, 10 second, 15 second snippets, and we use it throughout the entire year. And again, it just creates more engaging, better content. And they're just little snippets of content. Maybe they're just, feeding everybody like a tip or a trick or something that they're doing in their business that other business owners want to hear about.
Right. And when you see online, when you see it on social, selfie videos, selfie photos, 9 times out of 10, that is not the one photo that they took.
Nope.
They took maybe 10 different types of selfie photos and they picked the best one and posted that one.
Yep. And we were talking a little bit about video. Video is so incredibly important. And again, with the smartphone that you have in your hands, you can take amazing, incredible, engaging video. There's so many filters that you could use with different video apps, but video just gets everybody to stop just about every single time. Look at TikTok and the phenomenon with TikTok over the last couple of years. It's just video, video, video. Video is absolutely key of getting your message across. And here's some just great examples of people using video.
And organic video is great. Think of yourself as an amateur reporter, something fun that you're seeing or something passionate. that you find that is passionate to you, you can take video of that and post that. You know, something that you think would be engaging to your target audiences, to your personas, take video of that and batch those video snippets.
Yep.
So these are examples of social media posts that we thought were effective. On the far left, this is a post by the brand Adobe, and you see the giraffe there. And the focus of this post is taking creativity to new heights. And the picture is engaging, and what's really effective is that the text of the post that you see at the bottom aligns very well with the image itself. So think about ways that you can align your messaging with the visuals that you are showing. Then in the center screen, the brand is Whole Foods Market. Another important point is to make sure that you are looking at what your customers and potential customers are saying and asking online. So this is a question that came in from a customer: when are the Prime discounts coming to Maryland? And Whole Foods Market responded, thanks for reaching out. For information on where savings for Prime members are available, and they provided a link and information. And you really want to get back to your customers, potential customers on social media in a timely manner within the next hour or two. Don't wait for an entire day to respond to these questions and comments. And then on the far right, the brand is GoPro, and they're leveraging a lot of things in this post. First of all, it's a great picture. It's an engaging picture. It happens to be a picture of Costa Rica. They are leveraging photo of the day. So GoPro, the brand, does photo of the day, and they're leveraging hashtag Travel Tuesday, which is a trending hashtag. So every Tuesday, they'll post something related to travel, and this person traveled to Costa Rica. More posts to show you: Starbucks and Dasani. So the first two, Starbucks, you see they are not authentic organic photos. They're really stock photography, but they are effective. So on the far left, they are leveraging National Coffee Day, which of course they would, it's Starbucks. And they're using great messaging, great visuals about coffee coming first, that coffee gives you that warm feeling, and it is a heartwarming type of post. In the center of the screen, they're introducing a new blend to honor women, and it says "Sip to support women in coffee." Again, stock photo here, but it gets the message across, and they are leveraging important things that are going on in the world, and they also offer an opportunity for donations, and also Starbucks is donating 15 cents for every cup. Great campaign. Then on the far right, Dasani, you have the hot air balloons, and the messaging really aligns with the imagery. Things are looking up with the refreshing taste of Dasani sparkling black cherry. So
Yeah.
it's a great combination.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really important to note, have your messaging align with your photography. So again, this is just a simple photograph, somebody at a balloon show or fair. I'm assuming it's New Mexico somewhere. But just saying things are looking up, again, not the greatest headline in the world, but at least it relates to what they're talking about, right? So try to align your messaging with the image, if and at all possible.
Yes, there's definitely a level of creativity that is needed. And then a few more posts. We have PSEG Long Island. Take our online home energy analyzer and start saving on your hashtag energy bill. The best part, we'll send you 2 hashtag LED light bulbs to get started. And they are leveraging here hashtag Climate Week 2019, a trending hashtag at that time. So it's a free offering that could get your attention. It's not an organic photo, it is stock photography, but we think it's effective, and people may be interested in taking a look at that online home energy analyzer.
Yeah, and on the right is just an example that we have. So this is funny because it goes through social media quite a bit. So on LinkedIn, people have recommended us. We took that recommendation and we made a series of, we love our clients posts that we put up probably a couple of times a month. Now, the photography was done on an iPhone. They're amazing photographs. And we just take the quote that the client gave us and put it into a post and just, hashtag it with the right hashtags. And again, we're using part of social media to get the kudo from the client, and then we make a post out of it and for it. And it's just another great way of engaging with your audience and engaging with clients.
Right. And let's say you receive a testimonial via email. It's perfectly fine to ask that client, may I use your testimonial on my social media channels? And then you have the text from the email, and then you can repurpose it into a post like this.
Yep.
And these are some selfies, obviously. On the left-hand side, I am talking about COVID-19, providing some support to my network. This was posted a couple of months ago, just saying we'll get through this with some timely hashtags. And we do find that when you show your face, it really humanizes posts, and I really get more engagement when I do these types of posts. And to be perfectly open with you, it took me a while to get used to this. It's not an easy thing for many people, and really practice it. Practice taking selfies in different locations, different angles, make sure your lighting is right. And then on the right-hand side, I posted content about finishing up one of my semesters teaching at Hofstra University with some relevant hashtags.
Yeah, we see that whenever you personalize posts with your image and talking about something, we see that those posts always do so much better than just having a generic stock photography image.
Yes. We also recommend that in every single post, you try to prompt your audience, your personas, to take an action, and it's called a call to action, CTA for short. You really want to give your audience an opportunity to do something, not just read your post alone. You can ask them to download a video, download an app, subscribe to a newsletter, contact you, visit your website. It's perfectly fine to ask people to like or share your content, asking them to learn more, watch a video. So you really need to have a call to action strategy and include a CTA in every post. And that will help increase your engagement.
Yeah, not only that, but also a call to action, but also calling out people to action, right? So tagging people. We're doing that a lot. Again, this is social media, and I think the big umbrella thing here in what we're trying to say is be social on social media is so important, because the networks that you're on know if you're engaging on their network. So they want you to be a part of their network. So liking other people's things, sharing other people's things, and then also tagging people. Like, here's a great article. Like, John, this is a great article that we saw that pertains to you. What do you think about it? Or just tagging somebody like, hey, look, this is what we did just last week. Or, hey, Stephen, this is a video similar to what we were thinking of doing for you. So tagging people in it and getting other people to engage with that post is really incredible.
And just tying into the tagging piece, just recently, Andy, you tagged me in one of your comments about a video tip by another individual on LinkedIn. And I saw that I was tagged. You asked for my opinion. I provided my opinion. And then I sent a request to connect with that person who provided that video tip on LinkedIn. So
Yep.
through that comment tagging, we were able to interact, and you were able to introduce me to someone via LinkedIn, which was great.
Yeah, and not only that, but then I reached out to her as well, and we were talking about what we were posting about. I have a meeting with this person in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be talking about possibly getting on her show and talking about doing some work together. So again, being social on your social media platforms is incredibly important. It's a way of just meeting people, right? So just think of it as a networking room. If you're just sitting there in the corner, nothing's going to happen. But if you're going out and engaging with people, talking to people, when you're face to face in person, it's hey, really nice tie. I love your shoes. I like what you had to say, and that's what it's like on social media, but in a different way with commenting, tagging, and posting with people.
Great. Now, we talked about a lot of elements within conducting a social media program, conducting social media campaigns, and it's a lot to do. It's very time consuming, but we want to offer some tips that will help make your process turnkey. We discussed goals, KPIs, audience. Once you have this content, how do you put it all together? How do you schedule it? And how do you save some time? So we came up with these steps: goals and audience, which we covered, content buckets, content calendar, Hootsuite scheduling, and analytics. Okay, content buckets. We talked about different ways that you can create content that stands out, but you really need to drill down into, let's say, 6 buckets of your content categories, your content types. You should be providing tips, something about what your industry does or your company does, tips that you can provide as a specialist in a certain industry. You really want to provide that educational, valuable, informational posts to people. Motivation, hashtag Motivation Monday is a great one. What are different ways that you can motivate your target audiences? You always want to recognize the big important holidays, that's a must. And what are some of the offerings that you're providing? Products, services, promoting your company, and then self-promotion. Now, we're not saying that these need to be the buckets for you. Think about the 6 content buckets that make sense for your business and how you look at your company being displayed on social media. What
Yeah,
would be
and also, sorry to interrupt, but also who you're talking to, who your audience, what do they want to hear? What do they want to know about, right?
right? And many of the ways that you can come up with these content buckets is think about the FAQs. What are the frequently asked questions by your audience? Those can play a role in coming up with these content categories.
And then this will bleed into the content calendar.
Exactly. So once you've identified your 6 to 8 buckets, that really gives you a framework to create monthly content calendars. These are essentially the pieces of content that you are going to publish on social media platforms or schedule on social media platforms. So we have here an example of a content calendar, and this is mine for Liz Burke Media. And I created this content a month in advance, which I always do. So this was created in June for posts that will go out in July. I didn't include all the social media platforms that I post on because the text would be too small. So I included Facebook and Twitter. And then in the second column on the left, I have the dates to run them, then the time of launch. I like to launch posts around 10 a.m. every day, and then the topic. So within week 1, I covered the first day of July, July 4th, promoting our webinar, Social Media with Sizzle. And then I did the same on Twitter. And in the center of this calendar, you see the post text. So at the top, for the first day of July, I included here, it was a tough spring for everyone. Give yourself a break and spend some time enjoying the summer. Hashtag first day of July, hashtag sun and fun, hashtag summer. And then on the far right, you can see the post, how it looked when it went out on social. I created that image via Canva. canva.com, which is a free service, and you can create all different types of visuals, graphics. They even provide stock photos that are perfectly fine to use. So it gives you a nice opportunity through Canva to create this great imagery. So you've put together your content buckets. You've put together your monthly calendar, your first monthly calendar, and just thinking about posting all of this content, it can be really time consuming. So Hootsuite, hootsuite.com, offers a service where you can schedule your posts ahead of time. Now, we understand there are some social media posts that have to be posted in real time. That's separate from this. But if you are creating a monthly content calendar, each month you want to use something like Hootsuite. And through the free service of Hootsuite, you can schedule up to 3 social media platforms at a time. So here on this visual, you can see on the 29th, I did hashtag Monday Motivation, and the same post went out on Twitter and LinkedIn. I use Hootsuite for both of those platforms. I did the same thing on the 1st for the first day of July, and then on July 4th for Independence Day. So it's great because you can create one post and it will be launched on multiple platforms. And
Right.
it's very user-friendly.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is that just like content batching and image batching. This is the same thing. It's just batching everything in one place. We use content batching and Hootsuite scheduling as a base, a foundation of what we know we want to post throughout the month. There's always times that we want to post more for time sensitive things. And like Liz was saying, there's some things that you cannot do on certain platforms. So on my professional LinkedIn platform, I cannot schedule ahead of time video. I have to do that live, and I have to do that on the platform itself. I cannot do that. But on my business platform within LinkedIn, I can schedule video. So it varies depending on the platform and on the place, whether it's a business profile or a professional profile, so on and so forth. So it's really important to get a foundation of what you're going to be doing and then move from there.
Analytics. And this can be challenging at times. There's a lot to look at, but it is a necessary part of the social media process. And we thought that this graph was the most basic version to explain how this works. And this was offered by Marketing Land. So looking at the first column, vanity metrics. These are metrics that make you or your brand look good to others. So the number of fans you have, the number of followers, the number of likes, your overall growth, and your click-through rate. How many people are seeing your social media post and then clicking through to your website, for example. Then you want to look at your engagement metric. These are the number of engaged and repeat fans and followers. The number of shares. They're really engaging with your posts and showing a consistent month-over-month growth. And this category also includes click-through actions and conversions. These are people who are actually clicking when you have a call to action, and in some cases, converting into a lead or a customer. In the third column, looking at audience analytics. Who is engaging with your content? Who is sharing this content? Who are the new followers that you're gaining? And who is taking the call to action? Who is converting? So looking at the audience itself. And then the final column, content analytics. Which social media channel or channels are performing the best? Which content is resonating more than other types of content? So for example, let's say you do every Tuesday a Tuesday tip, and the numbers are really good. Your Tuesday tip is performing really well. Then you know what? Maybe you want to do a Thursday tip because that's the type of content that is relevant to your audience and they like it. What type of content are they sharing? Which promotions or content led to this growth? Which promotions or content led to them taking an action or converting?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? We see this as like the fourth pillar of marketing, right? It starts with, and we talked about it. It starts with the strategy, then the creative, right? What are you posting? Then where are you posting it? Where does it get the best results? And then the analytics, because whatever you're doing may not be doing well, right? So then you have to go back to the very beginning and understand, okay, what are you saying? Who are you saying it to? Maybe it wasn't working. And then change your strategy from there. So we always have to look at the analytics. If we're posting video and it's not working, we're going to take it down. Or if we're posting images or content that our particular audience doesn't want to see, we're going to take it down. And we're going to start doing more of what they want to see.
Now, you're probably asking, if you don't know about social media analytics, how do I find these numbers? How do I find this engagement rate? How do I find these vanity metrics? There are a few different ways. First of all, each social media platform provides its own social analytics and insights. So Facebook, for example, provides Facebook insights that you can look at on a regular basis. But also there are social media analytics tools. They give you all of this data, which is fantastic. And some of them are on the fairly reasonable side in terms of pricing, like Active Campaign, $9 a month, co-schedule $12.50. You can do a free trial with MailChimp, which also offers email marketing services. If you like how MailChimp works, then engage in an ongoing retainer there. Sprout Social, and on the more expensive side, HubSpot at $800 a month, which really allows you to get granular into who's looking at your social media content. But we recommend that you obviously look at the analytics provided by each social media platform, but then couple that with one of the analytics tools, which provides great data. I also want to add that when you have this data, you really need to look at it on a regular basis, because not only does this data tell you what is performing well, but it really gives you an idea on how you should create and promote future content. So you need to look at the data, assess what it's telling you, and then gear your content according to that data.
Yeah, and I think what Liz said was really important. Look at what you're doing on LinkedIn through that platform, and Facebook and Instagram. Look at those sites for insights and analytics, but also go to something like Active Campaign to get an unbiased view, right? Because the platforms show you what you want to be seeing, or at least what they want to be showing you. But I like getting an unbiased look and saying, okay, what is it doing, and how is it being perceived? Not just on the platform itself, but like an unbiased look at it.
Absolutely. Now, our top tips to add Sizzle to your social. Number one, always use hashtags. A hashtag connects social media content to a specific topic, event, theme, or conversation. And these social media platforms aggregate all social media content with that same hashtag. So making your social media post more visible, always include hashtags.
Yeah, I mean, it's so incredibly important, especially if you're just doing a search, right? So if you're doing a search for uh, multimedia marketing, or let's say virtual marketing, and how do you do that? That hashtag will come up in a Google search, right? That could go back to Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. So it is incredibly important to use the hashtags whenever you can.
Number two, leverage video as much as possible. And we touched on this earlier, taking the time to create those 15 to 30-second selfie videos, really short snippets of yourself, providing information about your company, providing tips, providing thought leadership, information that will be helpful to your audience. And on the live stream video front, especially on Instagram, we're seeing a lot of live streams, especially in the fitness world, where influencers are promoting their different workouts through live stream. And that's really resonating with audiences, especially with many of us at home. And then behind the scenes videos. And this is especially important now when perhaps your customer can't really see you because of the situation we're in with the pandemic. Behind the scenes videos of what you're doing within your company that will be helpful to your audience, maybe even behind the scenes of what you're doing in terms of safety precautions due to the virus. And take video every day. You don't have to use this video every day, but we recommend taking video every day to give you more options.
Yeah, all I can say is just video, video, video. I mean, video is just an absolute necessity, I think, when getting in touch with your customers. And yes, behind the scenes is great. We're doing it with a lot of entertainment clients now. And it's funny, if you look at, let's say, as an example, if you look at the Grammys, or any kind of, like, you know, the award ceremonies that are out there, they do a lot of behind the scenes, like behind the curtain, because people have seen that those are the things that people want to see, like behind the curtain. When somebody gets the Oscar, what happens behind the scene, like after they get the Oscar? You know, they're so excited, they're elated, they love it. So they do all these like behind the scenes. So half of the Oscars is behind the scene footage. The red carpet didn't used to be such a big thing years ago, but then it became a thing, you know. And behind the scenes, everything that they're doing behind the scenes at the Oscars, that's half of the show. The other half is the on camera in front of the stage. But people and fans love the behind the scenes video.
3, always include a call to action. We touched on that earlier. Always prompt your audience to take an action. They don't have to take the action, obviously, but give them an opportunity to do so. You want them to click on your website. You want them to subscribe to your newsletter. You want them to engage. Number 4, respond and listen to your online audience. Actively look at your online audience's comments. What are they asking? What are they commenting about? Even if you receive a complaint on social media, either address it on social media itself, or very likely you will want to tell them to contact you at a certain email or a number and take that complaint offline. But they really want to see that you have that social media customer service.
Yeah,
Number 5,
it's funny. Just go back to the complaints. So many customers want to avoid those. They really do, and rightly so. I get it, but when you don't, it can backfire really, really bad. And some of the biggest companies and businesses out there, they fail at that, and you could see some of the fails that are out there. So whenever somebody has something to say that is on a negative side, you can really, really turn that around by just being present and just saying, "I'm sorry this happened. We're going to make it right," and just reaching out to them on social, because they can turn it around on you very quickly, and you want to do the right thing anyway.
yes, you don't want those complaints to linger online. Number 5, join Instagram and post stories daily. The Instagram story piece on that platform is huge now. People are really interested in people's Instagram stories. And these are short videos, these are images, these are little interview snippets. In some cases, it's scenery with music in the background. And even though the stories, unless you highlight them, even though the stories last 24 hours, it has really caught on because someone could look at my story, they like what they see, and then they want to see my new story tomorrow. So if you're not on Instagram, join the platform, get familiar with it, and start posting stories daily. It's a great way to increase your engagement and reach new audiences. Number 6, start a YouTube channel, and you can do this for free. Starting a YouTube channel is just like starting an Instagram page, a Facebook page. Very simple steps, and start generating that video, posting it on YouTube. And YouTube is really one of the top social media platforms that has gained momentum in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and just as a tip, it does really well in search engines because it's owned by the biggest search engine, which is Google. So they lean a lot towards video, and rightly so, because they own it. So having a YouTube channel connected with your other social media, it's just another platform. And because it's video and because it's owned by Google, it does really well.
Absolutely. And we've come up with this formula of a social media post, because sometimes it's hard to remember everything that you need to include in each post. You're posting so much content, you're scheduling so much content. Using this formula, we think that this will help your engagement and help increase your following, and in turn, bring in more leads for you. So obviously you always want to have your message. You want your message to align with your visual, whether it be an image, video, or another type of content asset. You want to include your call to action and then your hashtags, and definitely more than one hashtag. So message, visual, call to action, hashtags. Every social media post should have these elements.
Now, if this sounds like a lot of stuff, it is. Give us a call. We're offering an hour free consultation for anybody that's on this webinar. You can give us a call. Here are our email, websites, and phone numbers to give us a call for a free hour consultation. Now, we're going to get into some questions. Does
Yes.
anybody have any questions? I saw that there were probably a few that came in.
There are a few questions.
Before.
First question is, do you have to pay royalties for images? Do you have to pay royalties for images?
That's really important. There are a ton of free resources out there. Pexels is one of them. Pixabay is one of them. Unsplash. There's so many places you can get free images from. Do you have to pay royalties? Yes, you do, if it's not your image and it's not a free image that you would get. Now, how those royalties work, if you get it from Getty or you get it from somebody else, I would kind of avoid that unless it's an image you have to use. I would just really avoid that because it's costly and it takes time to get permission to be able to use that. Again, unless it's an image that you have to use of something that's very specific, then you'd have to look into royalties. You have to contact whoever the photographer is or whoever the company that owns that particular photograph. So yes, I would stick with free.
Right. And
Or some of, or obviously some of your own. So if it's your own content, it's your own content.
right.
So use that however you want. And it does do better than just stock imagery and stock photography.
Right. I use the free service Unsplash, which you mentioned, Andy. I use Unsplash every week. I've used Pexels for photos and videos, and those are free.
Yep.
So great services there. The next question, how does Hootsuite differ from Buffer, or does it?
Same platform. I mean, same thing. Same thing. They just have different ways of using it, but it's pretty much the same. We've used both for clients. I think that Hootsuite is better. I think it attaches to and it shows more analytics when you're using other platforms. So using something like HubSpot, it syncs up with HubSpot, Google analytics better than something like Buffer. But we've used both, so it's very similar. I mean, the platforms themselves are very similar in how they and how their usage. In terms of free and not free, I know that Hootsuite gives you 3 platforms for free. After that, it's paid, and I think it's very minimal. I think it's like maybe, I don't know, like $3 or $4 a month or something like that. Buffer, I'm not really sure. I think maybe it's probably about the same, maybe 2 or 3 platforms that are for free, and then anything after that you have to pay for.
And another advantage to Hootsuite, you can use it to delegate tasks with
Yep.
other users. So it makes it a great platform, a great option for a team platform.
Yeah.
So it's a social media management platform, whereas Buffer is a content publishing platform. Next question, and the final question, is there an optimal number of hashtags on different platforms such as LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you can't over hashtag. The platforms don't like that. So we see 5 and 6, and that's pretty much the average between all of them. I think LinkedIn is like 6. Anything after 6, they don't like it. Anything that's a lot more, they really don't like it. Meaning they may not show it. Not that they wouldn't show it. It's just that they won't put it out there as much. And I know that sounds, weird that we're speaking on behalf of LinkedIn, but from us doing this with clients, we see that, the more we used to put in hashtags because the client asked for too many hashtags, even though we advise them against it, you could see that their posts got less engagement, less likes, less comments, less views, because it's almost like keyword stuffing. If you know what keywords are on social media, on websites and SEO, if you have too many keywords that are just kind of like stuffed in there, just for the sake of stuffing in there, you'll do worse in the search engines. So I would say no more than 6. And probably 3 or more, so between 3 and 6. Anything
Right.
more than that, I think it's overdone and it'll hurt you in the long run.
You can go higher in terms of hashtags on Instagram. On LinkedIn, Facebook, I like to keep it to around 3 hashtags.
Yep.
Okay, that's the final question.
All right.
And again, we have our upcoming workshops. They are for free, and those who have attended this workshop and other people on our list will receive the registration links for our upcoming workshops on July 22nd, August 6th, and August 27th.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.